Gotcha. We did.
Here we are.
Hi, Rob. How are you?
Hi, Karen. I'm good. I'm so glad that we were able to sort out this Zoom glitch.
I know. You'd think we'd have it down by now after 2 years of the nonsense.
No, technology,
I know.
It's so great. It's so great. I do like the Zooms because we get to see each other.
I do too.
Beautiful surroundings.
Yes, our lovely backdrop. So are you calling from Phoenix? Are you checking in from here?
I'm at the house in PV. I'm packing my bags ready to go up to rehearsals so we can kick off the continuation of the 50 heavy metal years of Judas Priest worldwide tour.
And it starts, March 4th? Early March.
You told me. They just go, walk this direction, get on this plane, go to this hotel. There is the stage.
But
I love it.
Talk about it being a post-pandemic type of tour, though. I mean, things have to be so much different for you as a band. I was reading a Pete Townsend interview where he was saying as the Who gets ready to go out, it's sort of like they're in a bubble. Is that how it's going to be when you get to these other countries with different restrictions and things like that?
Look, we want to do whatever we have to do to give everybody a great night out, a memorable night of screaming heavy metal from Judas Priest and the Who. We're from the same management stable. We do what we got to do, right? I'm not going to get into that. You shouldn't have had the vax. It's going to turn you into a zombie. I'm not going to get into any of that. The fact is that we've got through this together. It's a time to celebrate. And what better way to celebrate than to come together, all us metalheads in a room with the horns up, screaming and yelling, and the power of metal being unleashed again.
And the room here in Phoenix is the Arizona Federal Theater. That date is March 16th. I have that one memorized. Speaking of celebrations, 3 times is a charm for this Rock and Roll Hall of Fame induction situation we got going on, right?
Wouldn't that be great? Yeah. You know, go ahead. Sorry.
I was just going to say it's ridiculous. I mean, it seems as if it's a no-brainer for Judas Priest, and I want to see that happen this year for you guys.
For us, it's purely the power of getting the metal into the hall. Now, again, this particular establishment brings with it all of this passion and emotion. And no, it's rock and roll. How can you put rap in? It shouldn't be country. Forget that again. It's a special place that is once more a celebration of all of this talent that's been around for the longest time before we had to put 25 years in. So we've doubled that to be able to be nominated. It's a thrill. I don't care what people say. For us, for a British heavy metal band to even be nominated, to be put in this great music institution is a blast, and we get in. It'll be a wonderful time, not only for Priest, but for metal here in America and around the world, because the Hall is a recognized body that everybody looks at. So yeah, fingers crossed, horns up, let's do it.
Absolutely. And here's the way.
Keep voting. You
exactly.
Gotta vote every day.
Fans everywhere. Here's what you do. It's vote.rockhall.com. You can do it one time a day, and you can do it every day till, I think it's like April 29th. So do it. Get it done.
Get it done, yes.
I have to tell you that you will always be special to me because, and you're not going to remember this, but you were my first radio interview. And I'm going,
right?
I'm going way back to the Screaming for Vengeance tour. This had to be in the early 80s.
Yeah.
As I date ourselves here. But you came in studio and I was just 20. I mean, I was a kid and I was doing the night show and you walked in and I was so nervous and you were just so cool and you made it so easy for me to talk to. And I will always love you for that experience.
Well, that's great. I really appreciate that. And 2 things that immediately spring to mind is that, friendship, friends, support for each other, no matter what we do, is just an important part of who we are as people. And great success for you to still be doing what you do for KSLX. But also the power of radio. I love my rock and roll radio, I always tell the story of when I got off the plane from the old jumbo jet from London and we landed in New York and we got a yellow cab to some cheesy flea bag hotel. The first thing I did was turn down my radio and I was like a kid again going through all the different rock and roll stations coming through the New York area. And that started my love affair with rock and roll radio here in America. And it still exists now because what you guys do is so special and unique. We have a great bond that's created with radio and our listeners because it's a personal experience, much like music. Yeah. When everybody hears Karen's voice, hey, Karen's in the car, Karen's in the house, you know. So all of those parts of what make this great adventure, this great journey in rock and roll together is really important.
Do you remember the first time you heard yourself on the radio? You heard the band play?
I hated it. I'm like, oh my God, I sound like that. It's like the first time. It's like the first time when you bought a tape machine, and you said something into it. Hello, like, my name is Rob Halford. I am from Walsall in England. And you play it back and you go, who the hell is that guy?
I know.
Sound like crap. But I tend to cringe because I used to hold myself back in those days. And now it's like, shut the guy up, you know, he's flapping his lips again. I love to talk metal. I love to talk about the great music that we make. I love to talk about our wonderful fans. Phoenix is like, it's home from home for me. I've been in the Valley for so long. I'm well and truly a heavy metal desert rat. And so when we play downtown, it's special. All my friends will be there, and it means a lot to me. So I'm looking forward to seeing all of our local heavy metal maniacs at the show.
Do you still split? Do you split time at all between here and England, or do you spend most of it?
Yeah. Well, because we talk about the pandemic, I was just able to have my first Christmas holidays with my what remains of the Halford clan back in the UK over at my sister's. I'm never cooking Christmas lunch again. She cooked Christmas lunch again. Bless her. Thank you, Sue. So it's all that, you know. So that was wonderful. We were torn apart by this pandemic, and we weren't able to be around the table and hug each other. We're able to do that again now. So yeah, I go back and forth. You'll see me in and out to Sky Harbor all the time.
Yeah. It's the Zoom stuff was never the same, or FaceTime, as actually being close. You know, I don't know. There's something about the physical connection that just, that was lacking seriously for a long time.
Yes, for sure. Absolutely.
So Lansing, where I first had that interview with you, you played the Lansing Civic Center. It was the same tour you played Tucson. It had to be like 82. That show is included on this mega box set that you put together.
Isn't that great?
This is unbelievable. Like, I've never seen a box set. How many? I got 42 discs. There's all this unreleased stuff. There's touring programs. Gosh, it's just everything.
It's a real treasure. Again, it's a celebration of everything that we've been about. 5 decades of heavy metal with Judas Priest. It's very, very difficult to try and, man, we had an amazing team of people in London and in New York and various other places, really working hard to present the best moment that we could with this box set. Because one, how many heavy metal bands that you know that are still active and working and incidentally making a new album as we speak for 50 years, and how do you put that together in a physical sense? And so we put everything in here, barring the kitchen sink. And when the postman delivered it to my house in England, he goes, "What's in this, Rob?" You know, I need like a forklift to get through the door. It's heavy metal in the truest sense because it's an enormously heavy piece of physical material, as it should be, because it is this great tomb, this treasure, this heavy metal museum of the life of Priest. And it was a thrill for me to have something from Arizona, from Tucson, to be included in the trove. Yeah, for sure.
And I also wanted to ask you about the autobiography, because I wondered if you worked on that during COVID, or was that something you had in your mind to do before the pandemic started?
Yes. You know, it's like things happen for a reason. If you believe that, I don't know. But here we are in this horrible pandemic, and, you know, we're trying to get through stuff. And at the same time, I'm dealing with the cancer thing, and I'm having to have my prostate removed and recovery and all this other stuff going on. I'm running alongside with that. I'm doing the audio for the book with a catheter. I'm I'm doing a little clip for my friend Corey on that what is it, CMFDM, whatever it was called. If you see me doing that clip, there's a catheter to my left. So I'm doing all this stuff. I'm doing the Confess book. I've got everything going on. Everything's in turmoil, but I was so relieved to be able to get my health back together, and equally to really pour myself into this book, Confess. So yeah, I'm glad, kind of glad, yeah, that we got through this in the health sense of things, but also to finally get this book down, because I was approached in my 30s, Robbie, wanting to do a book. I'm like, no, dude, I've got more of a life to live. And then there's a little bell goes, ping, it's time to do it. So we put that together while the pandemic was going on. And thank you to everybody that took time to get into the book. It was a real journey of self-discovery, because Ian Gittins, who is my guy, Ian did the Nikki Sixx Heroin Diaries and a multitude of other great books. He was the master, taking me through the various parts of my life, and we got it down at long last.
And is that how you do it? Because you didn't take notes when all this stuff was happening. So you either have an incredible memory, or this guy is the one who sort of brought you through.
Yeah, he's great. He's great. He's a researcher. He pulls his stuff from all these different resources. Once you put a light on it in my head, the lips start flapping and go, okay, you've answered that like 20 times. Let's move on to the next question. So I'm relieved that, again, through my sobriety, I thought I'd have lost so much of this stuff in those murky years, but he was able to get me through that time, which we included in the book. And we didn't miss anything. We didn't cut any corners. The difficulty came when we sent all these hundreds of thousands of words to the publisher, and then the editing team goes in and like, you cannot take that out. It's got to stay in,
Sure, yeah, yeah.
We had quite a bit of material left over for the right reasons. That's why editors edit, and so we're utilizing that on another project that we'll be talking about later on this year.
Oh, good. Well, we'll talk again about it. You look incredibly healthy, and I'm wondering if you have a workout program that gets you into a shape for touring, or how do you do it?
I do my hiking in the hills every day. You got to get singers. You've got to keep those lungs ready for those long screams,
yes,
and so forth. I'll be on my 71st trip around the sun on August the 25th this year, and thank the Lord, and I'm blessed. It's great, and you regardless of what you do, look after yourself. Your body's a machine. You need to do what you need to do to stay healthy and functioning, and get off the couch, even if it's just to walk down the end of the street and back. Do something every day in the physical sense, because it makes you feel good.
March 16th, Arizona Federal Theater. That's for everybody in Phoenix, but Judas Priest is all over this country. And if you're watching this from another place, check judaspriest.com for tour dates. Rob, you are the best. And as awesome as I remember you being, however many years ago we talked for the first time.
Thank you, Karen. Let's not make it so long next time.
Right.
otherwise we'll be up there flapping our rock and roll wings,
Yeah, right.
But, anyway, thanks for everything you do at KSLX and everybody in the Valley. It's been such a thrill talking to you and everybody else that's tuned in. I love you, Karen. Stay safe. Stay metal.
You got it. See you, Rob. Take care.
See ya.
Have a good